Hello! It's a Stardock stream. We're live. That's exciting. I'm Adam. I'm a bit balder than I have been in the past, but that's Operation Graceful Balding Phase 2, and it is going fine. I'm joined by Paul Boyer. He's the lead designer in Galactic Civilizations 3. We are making this Space Empire game thing, and it's going to be great. Paul, do you want to tell us about how great it's going to be?
It's going to be awesome. Why is approval so low?
I heard it's because you keep messing with it,
I'm not done with it. Yeah, 32%. That is
We're
way
live.
too
That's exciting.
low.
I'm Adam.
It's funny as I
I'm
thought
a
I
bit balder
fixed
than I
that,
have
but
been in the
apparently
past,
just made
but
it
that's
worse. That's lovely.
So we are streaming an internal build today, which is very exciting. We have a bunch of stuff that you guys haven't seen. The build's a little bit janky. This hasn't gone through QA or anything. It's just kind of the build that we made this afternoon at literally like an hour or two before this stream. So if we have any crashes or other weirdness, I apologize, but we figured that you would want to see some new stuff rather than worry about a super polished, amazing build. So
That's kind of crazy.
approval, one of those things that is not in the public build that we have working here in its kind of initial form. Paul, do you want to talk about approval a little bit and what it does?
Well, what it does is in the middle of changing, but essentially it's as in Galactic 2. Hey, why is that off center? Brandon.
Oh, sure. Blame the intern.
Well, he's the one who designed that ship, but he's got to center them in the design if he wants them to stay in the game. So, I'll let him know about that. Okay, so approval is coming back in the form of as a control. What's funny is I really wanted to, honestly, I wanted to get rid of approval because in Galactic 2 it felt kind of squishy. You didn't really know if it was helping you, whether it was important. And then the funny thing was that once you actually got good at approval, playing the approval game, you didn't even really notice it was there because you knew how to manage it. The problem with it is that it is super important to the pacing of the game. You end up, two factory things. Oh my God, my improvement. Anyways, what the hell did I do?
It's your game, man.
No, I mean, why is the approval so low? Oh my
The good
God.
news is that those values all live
So
in
I got
XML,
a plus
so they're
50
easy
and
to
a
change.
plus 30, and yet I'm at 30.
Is the base value just too low?
Oh, I bet the base value got set to 0.
That would be a problem. So your people
Yeah.
just all hate you by default?
Oh, God, that's the opposite of what it should be. Anyways, I will fix that before any of the players get home. Anyways, approval essentially, so I might not be playing long because everybody will kill themselves. Approval is really important because what happens is when you have high approval, your birth rates go up. So in Galactic 2, this happened automatically. If you were taxing, and approval is essentially a function of population and your food and your income. And in Galactic 2, we had the tax slider, so it's really clear. In Galactic 3, we have the production wheel, which is a little more complicated. So more or less, these values are all jacked up. So ignore this, but you will, if you are losing money, your approval will start going down. If you stay losing money a long time, your approval will go way down. If your approval is bad enough, your birth rate will go down. Your production rates will go down. Everything except for wealth, because we can't do that because it breaks the whole, you end up with this big circle. Your production will go down a little bit. And therefore anything that is derived from production will go down. So you actually have to kind of keep your people happy. But if you keep them really happy, then your production will actually go up. You'll get a little bonus from it. Your birth rates will go way up.
And growth being so key to everything
in the game now that everything is based on population, it's a super important thing. The good news is that early game, except for in this specific example because everything's broken, approval management should be relatively trivial because it's really easy to keep people happy when there's plenty of land, everybody's expanding. The minute you start running out of food, That's when there starts to be some population pressure. That's when you have to start worrying about the taxes. If your global treasury is up above, is not red, you will your approval will never go way down. But the minute you go in the red period, you get these big negatives and stuff. It never actually will make your growth go down, but it will do is stop your growth from growing, which is totally important. So it's very much the way Galactic 2 worked, except for we don't have the slider, and we're tweaking the numbers a little better, and we're adding the fact that happy galaxies will build influence faster and will get a little production boost. So it has a little. Essentially, we tried to make it have a little more oomph. So you want to always keep your people happy.
We had a question in the chat that pertains to this. High population equals hard to keep approval up, like in Galciv 2?
Yes. Yeah, I mean, we will. It shouldn't be as, yes, but that's what approval improvements are for.
Sure.
That's what, essentially, yes, that is the way it works. But you won't notice hopefully till a ways into the game. So in a weird way, it really controls the flow of the game a lot. In Galciv 2, people, I know that I used to bitch about it, but it gives you this big boost, makes things easier in the beginning, and then dampens the game later. So like right now, you can, if you max out all your planets, because there's no approval, you'll just keep growing and growing and growing and growing, and then you'll essentially just cap, and you'll have all the money in the world, and it just becomes boring. So we really needed that approval to kind of tie things together. It also gives us the opportunity to have a bunch of game dynamics around approval. So that's all going in. It should be in the beta. Oh, there's a bug. Every planet shows its name here, so that's weird.
Oh, yeah, it gets really cluttered once you've explored a lot more, too. We had some questions from the forum. Darka wanted to know what's going to be in Alpha 4, which is kind of an open question whether we're going to do an Alpha 4.
Well, if we do an Alpha 4, it'll essentially be a test for the beta. So pretty much everything that's going to be in the beta will be in Alpha 4, and it'll come out maybe a week before, or just to make so we can,
we're not totally decided on whether that's going to happen or not yet. We'll see.
Yeah. A couple things, we had the great star debate going on. You notice that now the stars are small and blue, and the blue might change, but yeah. Also, the range line is now white, which actually might change again. But the problem was, as just yet another blue thing, it didn't really identify. It just looked like any other game element. It didn't stick out. I might actually make it like a contrasting color, like yellow. Let's see what else has changed. Well, we got a bunch of new planet textures in. We've got the adjacency. Oh, here, people get a kick out of this. So see, hopefully you can see this. I'm clicked on this planet. You can now see, well, I don't have any bonus tiles there, but it says adequate land, which will be changing its name. And you can see that this improvement that I have selected is a level 2. It is giving a +1 to the adjacent improvements. So you get this really nice here, and
I miss the arrows. I like the arrows.
You know where I might bring the arrows back. I wanted to see if they're really needed, because the information is all there still.
Sure.
And we kind of want the player to have to kind of go, because the arrows don't tell you anything other than that a bonus is occurring. Whereas the new system actually says, hey, you're giving this guy +1. You're giving this guy +2.
It's definitely a lot easier to see, and it's a lot more in your face. Like I could totally see new players missing the arrows entirely with the way that we had it before.
But the arrows are still kind of there. They're just disabled, or at least I think that's the case.
Oh, like logically they exist where they're just
so
not displaying.
I might bring them back. But that's a kind of a question for after the beta, or after the alpha at least, before we need people to test it. So you'll also see that now I put this here. You can see I've got 1s all the way around and a 5 in the middle. So that is kind of really gives you the impression of, I am literally going to get a 50% manufacturing bonus from this improvement now.
Right.
So that is a huge deal. You also notice this little arrow up here. That means that this is eligible to upgrade. Currently, we have upgrading on by default. I haven't decided that, but I can actually click it and it will then upgrade. If it will also just put it in the queue if you don't. You can go to options. I'm probably going to end up moving that, but you can go here and turn this off if you don't want them to manually upgrade. Though I don't really, I mean, unless you're really like tightly controlling the flow of exactly, it's actually really nice. Because if you just design your thing right, you go your factory effect, then they'll all build in the right order and they'll just continue to upgrade in the right order.
Oh, sure.
You get this.
Sure.
It's really nice.
That's kind of cool. I like that. I definitely, I mean, the tedium of upgrading stuff is a pain in the alpha right now. So I'm very glad to see that in.
Yeah. And it's working really good. We just have to fine tune it. We also have, where's my ship here?
We have a bunch of people asking questions in chat like as they get answered. So I think that means you're on a good flow here, Paul.
We now have, oh, hey, look. Hey, Ray made the screen. This is Ray's first entirely new screen. So we now have upgrading of ships, which players will appreciate. I want to upgrade this to a Ranger. I hit upgrade. The little wrench appears. It's not the right icon, but I'm not going to complain. I don't know if it says turns to upgrade too. Yay.
Are you going to keep that being able to upgrade out in deep space like that? Or what's your...
It's just the further out you are, the more turns it takes.
Ah. So all of your crews are able, they have the know-how to retrofit their own ships.
Sure. It's no fun to have to bring them back.
Sure.
And what we do is we just penalize you by how long it takes. If you're in space, I'm actually surprised this took 2, but I don't think maybe he's not done with that. But if you're out in space, you're a sitting duck for those turns. So there's plenty of penalty. There are
does it cost money as well?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
No, I mean not only as well. That's what it costs you. There's no
well,
such
and the
thing
time,
money and time. Yeah. So and when the leasing system is in, you'll also be able to lease them the same way you could in Galactic 2 if you don't have the cash, the cold hard cash.
So yeah, I always kind of assumed or thought of in the fiction, the influence territory, inside your borders. I always thought that was, territory that your civilian ships are in, it's space that's controlled by your empire. So there's commercial activity or whatever. So, maybe there's commercial freighters running out there with some parts, some new lasers.
Oh, look, now I have a Ranger. And that was way too easy, so we have to make that more expensive. And this is weirdly unbalanced. I'll have to talk to Brandon about
it. Could be. We do have that bug right now. This might be bugged. I'm not sure.
No, the fact that, I'm saying is he put
like the
first weapon here, second weapon here. This weapon should be attached to a symmetrical thing so that it would.
I see.
This is me just being anal. In Galactic 2, they would be all along one side, so it's not like. The fact that it didn't work perfectly the first time I've ever seen it is not exactly a big problem. Yeah, but that was way too inexpensive, so got to jack those prices up.
Hamelmac asks, when will we be able to export ship parts and designs?
Export to what?
I don't know. That's what he asked. Because you can export them internally to Galciv already.
Well,
right?
Yeah, you can export them to an obj file. Oh, I guess you can't in the beta. That probably won't be in beta 1, mostly just because we don't have time to make sure it's solid. We have it internal.
As far as like exporting it to just literally an OBJ file or whatever.
I think he's talking about this button right here. Export. Yes, you can export them. It works for us. It exports it to an OBJ. It contains all of the data, so you can then open it in Maya or something. One of the problems right now is some of the symmetry, the normals are flipping the wrong directions and things like that have to be fixed. The other problem is that Galciv 2 does a lot of crazy voodoo to optimize the way these ships are put together. So sometimes you'll open them, like we tried to open some up in Maya to put into cutscenes, and they had to do a lot of getting rid of faces and stuff because in a cinematic render they'd vibrate really bad and stuff, but we compensate for that in our engine. So it's not perfect, but it does work, and we've been able to export them straight to the printer and got some cool stuff like that.
Yeah, and we've shown some of those 3D printed ships on the stream before, and we have further plans for 3D printing certainly that we're pretty excited about. Should be talking about soon, hopefully. We'll see. bunch of internal work has to kind of go into it. You need to get off the ship designer because you did good. I'm watching the stream in a browser window. You'll notice that right now in the ship designer, ships look all weird. It's because it's bugged in this build that we have.
I don't think they can probably tell over the.
I don't know, it's 720p. It's pretty good quality. I'm watching it in a browser and I can tell.
Never mind, yeah.
Let's see. Where am I at on questions? Parrot Math asked if there was going to be global approval to set a generic base. I mean, I assume so. Global
approval is essentially just the average of all your colonies.
Sure. So, because it is local to each planet.
Yeah, but there are global approval bonuses that apply to everything. So yeah, there is. I mean, right up here, this little angry face up here of 32 is the global approval.
Gotcha.
But really, there's nothing to break down because it's just here's your planets. Whereas if I go to Mars or whatever this is, I can actually go here and see the breakdown. Although we want to kind of enhance that information.
We had another question. Will the shipyard be available directly from the menu so you don't have to do it in game? I know that's something we've talked about.
Yes, it will. Probably not in beta 1, but yes, that is that is on the schedule. I was really stupid to upgrade my survey ship.
Nasty Tang, as usual, has a bunch of interestingly worded and typed questions on the forum. Wants to know improvement queue will... it's hard to move things up and down in your construction queue on your planets right now. I totally feel that complaint. Certainly, I mean, I assume that's something that just hasn't gotten much polish at this point, but Paul can answer that.
Yeah, we'll be tweaking that. It's hard. I think the problem is that I was trying to keep it just drag and drop, but I think we're going to have some arrows on there, and then I have to dedicate screen space to it, and that drives me crazy. So we will address that. Here, let's see what he's talking about here. Okay, so I go research, blah, blah, blah. Why can't I? Also, you'll see here now we have this ancient ruins, plus 2 to research, plus 1 to tourism. This is actually information has literally just changed. So all of these now are going to do about one bonus to one thing, and then they'll give an adjacency bonus to another. So
really?
Yeah. So you have this choice of I can get a big bonus from this, but if I surround it with factories, I'll be getting bonuses from that. So it creates a neat little game. That'll actually I was doing that before I came up here, and I ran into some technical difficulties.
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess the problem is that you go down here.
Yeah, once you have a bunch of things in there, it's tough.
So what I think we need is essentially auto-scrolling. So once you go down, it starts to pop up.
Probably.
So that might actually address the issue. So we'll play with that. Yeah, well, that's definitely a polished thing that we want to do.
We had another question from the forum wanting to know if we're ever going to add an import from Galciv 2 button for ship designs. Which I know is something we've talked about, thought about.
They're done so differently that I don't think we can. However, what I do want to do is import all of the parts from Galciv 2.
Oh, sure.
Not right away. Maybe as a gift or an expansion or a DLC or something where you get all of the, get all the good parts, and then because then we can upscale the textures. And we have to adjust like the way they're done. Like they were done in a very simplistic way. The newer system is much more advanced, although therefore much more complicated. So we have to add a couple things. But I think we can get them in looking almost the same as they did in Galciv 2, if not hopefully better. Some of the colors color IDs might have to change. But,
sounds like you need more art interns is what it sounds like to me.
Well, I need more artists, period, interns or not. Oh, hey, here's a cool, let me show a new, here, what is that? That is a weird thumbnail.
Oh, that's that is a weird thumbnail.
Actually, let's unlock. Jesse just put in something new for the ship designer crowd that they should get a kick out of.
I swear we spend half of every stream on the ship designer.
Well,
It's pretty cool, though.
Yeah, that's my fault maybe. Okay, so
You
Brandon,
get
our
very
intern,
excited.
has been making all new Drengen ships. You can see
That looks cool.
Yeah, they're looking really good. I'm very happy. I've kind of turned him into as anal retentive as me.
You were
Okay.
talking about your quest to make him
Yeah,
anal,
him
as it
evil.
were.
Yeah. Here's some of the bigger ones. So we got Corvette. So here I can come in here now. Watch this. I can take this and go. You can invert the IDs now.
I don't know what that means.
See how that just turned all the red turned gold, all the gold turned red.
Oh, cool.
So this really is going to allow people to really shake up some of these designs.
That's cool.
Yeah,
That's a nice way to keep from completely breaking the colors too.
Yeah,
And the color scheme and the overall
you will still
look.
eventually be able to set custom colors, but only on a full ship palette.
Oh, sure.
Because we can't because the minute we do multiple palettes, it's a lot of draw calls. So, but yeah, so like just say here, like I wanted to make this, have a little bit of a different feel because these things are now red, right? You can get a really neat thing. So I think only ship design fans will really appreciate this. And also in here, like you were saying, none of the subsurfaces are in, so it looks really weird. But I mean, now look at this. So this is the same piece as that, but the colors are inverted, so they look completely different.
No,
so,
that adds quite a bit of variety. Surprisingly,
that was on my dream list, and I was pretty sure that it would never actually get done. And then Jesse finally got to do it, and I did a little dance. The next big dream thing is making the subsurfaces scale with the parts. And other ship designers will appreciate that too. So like,
so they don't get quite as
don't get as distorted. So you essentially literally like if your ship has is a tiny hull and the subsurface is a certain size, all of the parts on that will be the same size. So you won't end up with these one wing that's got super dense texture and another one that's got a wider texture.
Emblems and things are gonna be able to go in at some point, right?
At some point, we haven't figured out. We haven't made in Galactic 2. What we did is we just had some parts that had the race logo on it. At the very least, we will do that. But the reason we haven't done anything yet is because we're kind of hoping to do something sexier.
Sure.
I have this dream of letting you be able to put names on ships, but
that would be sweet.
That may not happen, or at least not for a while, not until an expansion.
Sure.
I don't know if people can see this, but Fred's been spending a lot of time on planets. You can see the planets are starting to look pretty cool.
Yeah, I noticed that immediately
nice
as soon as I loaded up
variety.
the game.
And we're not even really done yet. I mean, this is literally like the first pass.
It's really nice just to have different palettes or however you call it for habitable, so they don't all look Terran.
Oh, and I haven't shown people terraforming. So here's the way terraforming works now. This scroll also needs to be adjusted.
All the scrolls are really slow.
I thought that some of them had been fixed. That's why. So let's say I'm here on Drengi, and see everything's got an arrow on it because those will all auto upgrade. They'll actually. So I can go to this. Oh, we need to fix this list snapback too. I hit soil enhancement, which is the level 1 terraform. It's the first one you unlock. Right?
Your dyslexia sometimes is very amusing in like the way that you write like "they're from" for terraform.
Did I write terraform?
It's in the tooltip for soil enhancement. They're from. Sorry, I don't mean to make fun of
that. Is
it cracks
weird.
me up.
I think that must be a autocorrect.
That could be
fix of the autocorrect.
That could be
because that is weird. Because ironically, I know how to spell terraforming. Anyway, so therefrom, I'm going to therefrom this tile here. So I can actually literally you'll see that when I hit terraforming, it literally highlights all of the tiles that have a high enough land count to be terraformed by this soil enhancement improvement. So say I do this, bang. I can even go ahead. Well, I can't buy because I don't have any money. Oops. Do terraforming not count? Oops. Oh, I didn't realize I was halfway across the galaxy because I got there from here. That's what I get for unlocking everything.
Clearly.
Well, here's some examples of our planet texture. Okay. So now this is here, and it's not going to finish. Anyway, so, oh, I see. I didn't have the right planet selected. So here, select this.
Oh, I didn't realize you had a colonize all cheat. That's a new one to me.
Yeah,
That's
we had to
exciting.
make that for Fred to be able to.
Oh, yeah, to be able to actually
To
see.
be able to see the surfaces and really make sure they all look good. Okay, so now, boom, magically I have another tile here. Now I can go to the next one. And now I only get one of those per planet. So then I can go to terraforming plant or therefroming plant. And that essentially lowers that threshold of how good the land has to be a little bit further. So now you'll see I've got more options. So I
That's
can
very
put
cool.
that here, or let's see, I want it in the most optimum place. Let's say
Probably, yeah.
here, and then I'm going to go to habitat improvement, which is the next one. I'm going to put that. See, I'm starting to get a lot of room. I'm going to put that here,
I love how it opens up the adjacency game
Yeah.
so much.
and then I'm going to go to genetic resequencing. Put that here, and then I'm going to go to biosphere. Now, biosphere you only ever get one of, but you can literally put a tile anywhere. This is Age of Ascension tech, so I'm going to put it right there. So now I've literally made this big circle. Then, and this one I might get rid of is ultra terraforming, which is an Age of Ascension technology where you can then do as many of them that are at 45 or above as are on the planet. So I can literally go in here, and we need to make that smarter. Let's see. So I can get this planet up to, and actually if I had done it smarter, I might be able, finesse it even higher, because you don't want to waste those high tech ones
Right.
on
Right.
areas that could be done by ultra terraforming.
I like how you have the super scientifical crappy land designation that you can make usable.
I didn't see that.
That was in the the tooltips.
Oh, did I leave it as? Oh, I did. I better fix that. Yeah,
It might be
Crappy
worth
land.
doing. See, this is the joys that you get for seeing internal builds.
I almost checked in some really joke text the other day, and I went, no, I will totally forget that.
You'll forget it, and it'll go either on
Yeah,
the stream
so-
or.
Essentially, I've gotten Mars now. Drengy here up to class 20 through terraforming. Now, that is, by the end of the game, and at the end of the game, you'll probably have a couple 24s that you've got up to 30 or. So the question is really, is that overbalancing? But I kind of like the idea of late game being able to just go crazy.
Totally. And people, I mean, I don't know. People always like doing that, even if it's not super balanced or whatever. I
Well,
feel
by
like,
late game, the balance is kind of up in the air. I'm looking for the highest. What's the highest class planet in here? Oh, here's a 22. All right, so let's see what we can do. See how high we can get this one. Let's go through. Oh, wow. Actually, the problem is it looks like I already used most of.
oh, we had another question in the chat here from Civ Hunter wants to know how many people are actively working on the game.
How many people are actively working
I
on the
mean,
game?
the same number of people that have been actively working on the game for a while.
Developers, we have Jesse, Colin, Alan. Okay, well let's give
Apparently-
some credit.
apparently
Let's
meet
give
the
some
team.
credit. Okay, let's meet the team. So there's Jesse, who is our is the lead developer on the game proper. He is our graphics engine guy. He's the one who was responsible for a lot of the crazier. He did the battle viewer in Galactic 2 entirely on his own, just as like a experiment. And went, hey, what if we did this instead? And so he's a keeper. Then we have Alan, who has been here for like 3 or 4 years now. He is our lead game engine developer. He's the one doing all of the guts, the modifiers and the map generation. And now he is actually creating all the backbone for the AI, and then he will work with Brad to get that higher. Then there is Sarah, who has been here for quite some time. She worked a little bit on Twilight. She's our kind of jack of all trades. She does almost all of the screens.
I was going to say she's done like all the backbone for the UI stuff.
She does almost all the UI stuff. She did the planet system. She does. She's a keeper as well. Colin, who has actually only been here a while. I don't want to say only a year, but it might have only been about a year.
He was here before I got here, and I'm almost at a year.
Yeah, and he's really clever. He wrote a game on his own called Gimbal, which you guys can check out on Steam. It's a really good little game. It's a spaceship game. You'll get a kick out of it. It's a real-time battle, but you get to make ships, and when you play it and go, dude, a single guy did this. It's very impressive. So we snapped him up. He's been doing a lot of gameplay, but he also helps with the graphics. He's the one who did the shipyards and stuff like that. Then there is Bara, who is doing the tools. He's making the map editor, stuff like that.
And some of the really cool data stuff that we're going to be getting into.
He's making the data stuff that we can use to essentially make the AI better. He's making... he makes a lot of tools for the artists so that they can get the textures and such out. Let's see. Then there's me. I'm the designer and overall pain in the ass.
There's Nathan.
There's Nathan, who is actually the
lead developer for the studio.
Yeah. Who is kind enough to work on our game, but he's mostly in charge of the multiplayer and making sure that, he's there to go, hey, have you guys thought that you should do this way? But as a rule, he just essentially is working as a developer, but he really has tons of experience, and he knows, when we're going astray. So he's very, very good person. Then there is, in the art team, there is Akil, who's our art director, who worked on Galciv 2, did all the Altarian ships and stuff for Galciv 2. And Fred, who is a recent hire. He's been working on FE and stuff, but he's doing most of the modeling and texturing of the ships. So, and then we have an intern, Brandon, who is here for the summer, and I am turning into a ship design Nazi.
And Ray is the producer on the project.
Producer, and also kind of assistant designer. And lately he's been helping out with screens and stuff like that. So
Ray bothers the team when I need the team bothered about something.
Yeah,
so I like that about him.
Yeah, he essentially is the one who makes sure, in his words, makes sure everything keeps moving. He's the one who goes, hey, do you really need that? And so
because he's a producer, and so he's got the schedule.
I blame for not being able to get my way.
And there's Brad, of course, who's not full time on Galciv, but
who's kind of does drive-bys, makes sure everything is progressing, and then later we'll step in and polish up and make the AI.
And Brad still has some occasional design things that he throws out, like the wheel of economy, the production wheel, or whatever the heck we're calling it. I like calling it the wheel of economy because
the production wheel. How hard is
production wheel? I don't like production wheel.
So all those little things. So that's the team. Then we of course have people upstairs who are working on marketing and stuff, but they market all of our games. And we have QA who's testing the game.
And support, answering your tickets, and forum moderators, and Island Dog who's in the chat.
The core team is those people.
So it's 12 people or 10 people or something like that. So it's not a huge team. Like you hear about, a game like Assassin's Creed has 400 people on the team.
10? Is it 10?
I think it might be 10. But it's not a huge team by any in the video game industry sense of the word.
No,
but
there are teams. There are people in charge of any one aspect. There are teams in charge of almost any one aspect.
I guarantee you, the animation team on the main character in Assassin's Creed is probably bigger than our whole team.
Oh yeah.
I mean, they have do you know how many animations they have? They have 400 animations or something. I mean, it's just ridiculous, and it's awesome, and it's beautiful, and it's super
Not
cool.
That
and
our game isn't as awesome as Assassin's Creed.
Our game is totally awesome,
but it's just different. I'm a little upset because there seems to be Durantium icons showing behind these asteroid icons.
Oh yeah, I saw that. I saw that earlier.
What is up with that?
We also have planets spawning inside asteroid fields.
Yeah,
in this build?
We're working with look at it. Here's an anomaly in asteroid field, which I am not entirely opposed to. We might have to keep that.
It's kind of cool if you find a wrecked ship inside an asteroid field. That makes sense.
And I don't know if people will notice, but every ship design now has its own tactical icon, and it has a little language most people will never bother to learn. But you can actually tell from the tactical icon what type of ship a ship is now. And man, those names everywhere are annoying.
They really are, aren't they? When you on the bigger map,
stuck between ears. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, that's I think going to be our stream for the week. Thank you everybody for coming by and asking your questions, and it was a good time for all. I hope you dug the little peek at the things that are coming in beta or possibly alpha 4, depending on if we do an alpha 4. And seeing some of these things, and we hope you like it, and we hope you like the game. And I'm running out of steam, so that's what we got for today. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Paul.
See ya.
Bye.